a significant shortfall, Mr. Speaker, at least because in the first instance you had taken 80% of the national budget and left it at the national government, Mr. Speaker. When there is a shortfall, then they should bear the responsibility, Mr. Speaker. And I must appreciate that that has always been the case, Mr. Speaker, save for unique moments when we've had challenges, like last year, Mr. Speaker, when with failure to assent of the finance bill, Mr. Speaker, there was a significant drop in nationally raised or expected revenue by close to 400 billion, Mr. Speaker, and therefore we had to review downwards what we had actually proposed in DORA. And if you recall, late last year, towards November, we had to do a new set of division of revenue bill. I can't get the figures exactly. I think members of the Budget and Finance Committee will recall that we had to do that, Mr. Speaker. The clause 6 of the bill, Mr. Speaker, provides that if the actual revenue raised nationally exceeds the projected revenue set out in the schedule. This has never happened, and it will be Christmas, Mr. Speaker, or Ramadan, if you want to put it, Mr. Speaker. If this was ever to happen, that we raise more than the projected revenue, what will happen in such a situation? The excess revenue shall accrue to the national government and may be used to reduce borrowing or pay debts. It's just a balance, Mr. Speaker, that if there was to be a shortfall, you bear the burden. But then again, if you are to get a windfall and raise excess revenue beyond what you had projected, Mr. Speaker, this has never happened in all those years, and I don't see the chance of it happening, Mr. Speaker. But if it was to happen, then that becomes something for the, what is it called, the Treasury, Mr. Speaker, to manage our budget books better. I will be looking with more detail what will be the fiscal deficit, because that's the indicator, Mr. Speaker, of how much, what will be the eventual budget that will be projected before we eventually agree on this issue of division of revenue. If the fiscal deficit, and I want our colleagues in the National Assembly to hear me loud and clear. If the fiscal deficit is above 4.5%, then we have no reason why we shouldn't be sending upwards of 420 to 430 billion to the counties, Mr. Speaker. And I will be speaking to that later when eventually they lay their report on the floor of the House next week. I can't speak for now, Mr. Speaker, because I don't know eventually what they will agree. But we'll be waiting for the report of the Budget Committee of the National Assembly. But my point and my argument, which I shall be pushing on the floor of this House as somebody who follows our budget-making process keenly, who understands it, Mr. Speaker, and knows what ought to be the balance between what is shared nationally and what is shared at the county governments. My argument, Mr. Speaker, is that at a 4.5% fiscal deficit, then 430 is possible, Mr. Speaker. Should it be reduced downwards, then we can have a conversation about the figures that I hear being mentioned by our colleagues in the National Assembly, because it means there is limited fiscal space, Mr. Speaker. But we cannot have a situation where we are allowing the National Treasury to borrow significant or colossal amounts of money, Mr. Speaker, while sending to counties very few resources. Mr. Speaker, you will recall, and I wish Senator Moses Kajwang, the chair of CPIC, was here with us, that due to the court ruling, we met here towards the end of the session, and we received the audit reports of many of our counties, and we passed them one afternoon and raised comments and said we shall find mechanisms through ways and means of addressing that particular challenge, Mr. Speaker. You will recall that we, as a Senate, raised a concern that if many of our county governments, all the 47 of them without fail, were business entities, Mr. Speaker, we'd be concerned that most of them, or all actually, are not growing. And anything, the rule of life, Mr. Speaker, is that if you're not growing, then you're actually dying. It only depends the speed at which you're dying. It could be a quick one, a slow one, but if you're not growing, Mr. Speaker, what are the indicators of growth, Mr. Speaker? And we said that many of our counties are not raising significant amount of funds in on-source revenue. We raised the fact, Mr. Speaker, that many of our counties Mr. Speaker, I think it was about 34 out of 47, are actually doing more than 50% of the devolved, of their shareable revenue to pay recurrent expenditure, Mr. Speaker. Actually, less than 10 out of 47 counties, Mr. Speaker, spend more than 25% of their shareable revenue on actual development, which is the statutory edict as per Schedule 4 of the PFM Act Regulation 25, Mr. Speaker. And that is a conversation which I have kept on challenging my colleagues who serve in budget and finance. I know the Vice Chair is in the House, though she's not listening to what I'm saying, Mr. Speaker. And I hope that one day they will lead this House into a proper conversation about what needs to happen. Because this is something that should be of concern to any senator. If out of these funds, it makes no sense, colleagues, to fight for 400, 450, while 90% of that funds, Mr. Speaker, ends up being misappropriated. Why should we fight to send 450 billion, for example, to the counties, Mr. Speaker, if more than 50% goes to pay hardly 300,000 or 400,000 citizens, Mr. Speaker, to the exclusion of the millions of others? If you go to a county like Meru, and I don't know what the population of Meru, for example, is, Mr. Speaker, simple mathematics, I want to believe maybe upwards of 1.5 or nearly 2 million, because Meru is a fairly large county, Mr. Speaker. 1.6 million, Mr. Speaker. If out of your shareable revenue, Mr. Speaker, of upwards of 10 billion, your governor ends up spending more than 50% of it to pay employees who are barely 4,000 or 5,000 in that particular, what are you telling the rest, the 1.55 million citizens that don't work in the counties? And I have been pushing that as a House, we must have this conversation. And you know, it's simple. It's populist, Mr. Speaker, to say I've employed so-and-so. You know, nowadays, in fact, governors have found a new way of explaining. They hide behind very popular employment initiatives. I have picked young people. You know, I have to employ them as revenue officers so that we get more revenue. Or I have picked nurses. I have picked this or the other, Mr. Speaker. While it may sound logical, commerce has no sense. No, commerce has no feeling, Mr. Speaker. It has sense only. You either do the right thing or you fail. It doesn't matter the intention. It doesn't matter how emotional you are about it, Mr. Speaker. If at the end of the day, you're not managing your resources prudently as a county government, Mr. Speaker, the results will show very quickly. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, I really want to request our colleagues to reflect deeply on this particular matter as we think about division of revenue and the things that we need to do, Mr. Speaker. The final part of this, Mr. Speaker, is that the Schedule 6 allocates a total of 2.835 trillion, Mr. Speaker, as follows. National government remains with 2.4 trillion. Equalization fund gets 10 billion and 405 billion to county governments, Mr. Speaker. I know the Budget and Finance Committee has thought through this process. They have proposed an even higher figure. As the Vice Chair comes to second, Mr. Speaker, I'm sure she will speak to the House and tell us what is their proposal before we eventually agree with them or see what to do. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, it will be unfair of me, knowing that this is something that many colleagues want to comment on and share their thoughts, particularly on all these issues that continue to face our county governments, Mr. Speaker, for me not to yield the floor so that colleagues can speak to this particular bill, particularly being guided by the report that was tabled by the Budget and Finance Committee, which I want to believe by now, Mr. Speaker, has been shared with us in the official channels of the House. Therefore, with those many remarks, Mr. Speaker, I beg to move and request Senator Tabitha Mutinda, who's the Vice Chairperson of the Budget Committee of the Senate, to second and take us home with regards to the 2025 Division of Revenue Bill. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Vice Chair on Budget and Finance, Senator Mutinda.
Kindly give me the mic. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And I rise to second our bill, the Division of Revenue 2025. I really want to start by appreciating the Majority Leader. I've been keen on the sentiments and the submissions and the contributions that he has been able to highlight. But allow me, Mr. Speaker, to actually start by appreciating all the stakeholders that worked with us on this annual discussion of Division of Revenue, Mr. Speaker, led by the COG Chair, Governor Ahmed of Wajir, the National Treasury, led by the Minister himself, Honorable Mbadi. CRA, we've worked very closely with them, up and including, apart from the issue of this Division of Revenue, also on the upcoming formula that we look forward to discuss on Thursday. There was also the Institute of Certified Accountants, that is ISPAC, Budget Hub. I can't forget, Mr. Speaker, also the County Assemblies Forum that we always engage very closely. Kenyan Devolution Civil Society and the Coast Civil Society Networks for Human Rights, they also did their submissions, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I find it also, it's important to state all these stakeholders because the views, the conclusion, the recommendations that we are making to this House as a committee, Mr. Speaker, have been a process that we've engaged these very key stakeholders on the different areas that we focus on, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the bill indicates the projected revenue for financial year 25-26 at 2.8 billion, Mr. Speaker. But when the Minister for Finance appeared before the committee, he indicated a downward revised projection from 2.8, Mr. Speaker, to 2.756 billion. That is the downward projected revenue that this minister indicated in the committee when he appeared. And I'm pronouncing this, Mr. Speaker, because of course now with from 2.8 to 2.8 trillion to 2.7 trillion, then of course figures will change. Because you note very well, National Treasury and the National Assembly Committee of Budget proposed 405 billion for counties' equitable share. Unlike what we proposed, which I'll indicate very shortly, Mr. Speaker, the bill also indicated that the proposed county equitable share is to 25.79% of the most recent audited financial reports. And I want to emphasize on this, Mr. Speaker, because as a committee, we've really been pushing that the Committee of Finance at the National Assembly be able to approve the audited reports. Because the Constitution is clear in terms of us using the last audited reports. And if the reports are not, approved, audited and approved, then it becomes difficult, but that was done, and whereby the amount is 1.5 billion. With this 1.5 billion, Mr. Speaker, then the equitable share percentage increases to 21%. The required is 15%, and so with the last audited reports approved of financial year 2020-2021, the amount is 1.5, which gives it about 21% from the 15. So it meets the required 15%, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, having said that, Article 204 of the Constitution is quite very clear in establishing what we call the equalization fund, into which it shall be paid 1.5% of all the revenue collected by the national government in each year. Mr. Speaker, we've been on this table, on this floor of the House, still on the issue of the equalization fund, a matter that is very important for all the counties, Mr. Speaker. There have been arrears when it comes to the issue of the equalization fund. I've tabled before this House the deficits, what has been remitted by National Treasury, and where we are as far as these deficits are concerned. And they should not be confused that the equalization fund is also part of the equitable share, Mr. Speaker. In consideration, Mr. Speaker, The committee was very cognizant, okay, of the budget policy that we did a few months ago for 2025. We did a recommendation. Our recommendation, Mr. Speaker, of 465 billion is based on the factors that we were able to consider, Mr. Speaker. For us to have concluded to 465, Mr. Speaker, there were factors that led to this. What I remember also, the proposal by the governors, the COG, they proposed actually 536 billion. But we proposed 465 billion. Why, Mr. Speaker? And this is where I want to be very keen, Mr. Speaker. One of the key issues is the housing levy deductions. These are additional recurrent costs that affects all the 47 counties, Mr. Speaker. And with this additional cost, counties need to do their statutory remittances. The PAC committee, us as finance committee, and as early as yesterday, we were actually in Kitui County doing oversight on the issue of pending bills. And you find that the governors are also part of the issues of non-remittance of the statutory deductions is part of pending bills, Mr. Speaker. If counties are not able to get enough funding, then what will happen to these issues of housing deduction? And I speak because today, Mr. Speaker, we were with the President, His Excellency Dr. William Ruto, at Mukuru Kwanjenga, where he has given keys to people to occupy their new homes, Mr. Speaker. You know very well when this issue of the housing came about last year, there were so many politics around it. But today, Mr. Speaker, we are happy that we've witnessed Kenyans receiving keys to be able to get into their new homes. Coming from the slums, they were also not able to believe that it is actually happening. If we do not consider the budgets for the counties as far as the issue of housing levy deductions, what are we doing to our people in this country that are still living in the slums? Article 43, Mr. Speaker, is very clear of the Constitution. It says it is a responsibility of the government to provide affordable, good environments, comfortable environments for its citizens. And today, Dr. William has made history when he went to Mukuru Kwanjenga and handed over keys to people who are coming from places whereby even toilets were a problem. And you could see leaders politicking because you go to their houses, they have even 5 toilets. But how many toilets can you use at once, Mr. Speaker? Today, Mr. Speaker, when we factored the 465 billion, these are some of the amounts that we looked at, as I've said, the housing levy deduction. Mr. Speaker, there's also the enhanced contributions for NSSF, Mr. Speaker. This is a subject matter that we've always communicated. And the President has been on the forefront, talking about whereby people retire, you go back home, and you're still within the same, little means of what you are able to save when you're receiving your pension. But with the increased enhanced contribution, someone is able to at least live a comfortable life, a bit comfortable life, Mr. Speaker, even after retirement. Mr. Speaker, the children that we have nowadays, if parents are going to continue saying that I will depend on my children, the kind of children we have today, they are focused with their life. Totally. It's not like us that we are still taking care. So, when these enhanced deductions for NSSF, when these contributions are enhanced, then it gives retirees an opportunity to continue living comfortable lives. It is sad when people retire, Mr. Speaker, and they have to really go back to standards, living standards that probably they were not prepared for. The other thing, Mr. Speaker, was the issue of the KIPES, the County Integrated Industrial Parks. 18 counties have already received funding, Mr. Speaker. The question is, funding has already been given, projects have been awarded, contractors have started these projects. They're at a certain level. For Christ's sake. That is where we will see bloggers going out there and say, amount X of this money, in billions, in millions, was put in this particular project. But this project has stalled. So, someone ate the money, or what really happened? And the narrative that goes out there is someone ate the money. And at times it's because we are not giving enough funding for these projects so that they are completed and Kenyans are able to see. And when I go back to the issue of the housing today at Mukuru, sorry, Mr. Speaker, it's so, it was so emotional for the families. And we were so happy as leaders because you are able to actually see the money that I'm being deducted today as housing levy. At least today I've been able to have an opportunity to see where money is going. And I'm sure by the time this project is getting finished in the next 2 years, Mr. Speaker, over 60,000 Nairobians will be occupying their own homes, Mr. Speaker. There's the other issue of our very good friends called the community health promoters, Mr. Speaker. This program is very key. It's a program that is shared in terms of the remuneration between the county government and also the national government, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we've met actually the CHPs for Nairobi, and they say the national government has given us our share. The county government is not giving us our share. And this budget is about 4 billion. I'm happy because when the CS was giving us his schedules when it came to matters health, he was able to indicate that there is a budget for the community health promoters, Mr. Speaker. So this is very important because already these people are already on the ground doing a very great job, and their remuneration is very small, 2,500 from the county government, 2,500 from the national government. Procurement of new medical equipment. Mr. Speaker, how do we continue running hospitals without the right, correct equipments, the modern equipments that are needed in this country? Meeting the outstanding obligation under the doctors' CBA, Mr. Speaker. The issue of the doctors is a very, very pertinent issue that needs to be addressed once and for all. And as a committee, Mr. Speaker, because health is devolved. And if it is devolved, then governors or the county governments needs to get funding to be able to sort the issue of the doctors' CBA, Mr. Speaker. Hence the decision for 465 billion. I say like that, Mr. Speaker, because this is money. It's not pocket change. And it has to make sense for our brothers at the National Assembly to understand why are we asking that we approve the 465 billion to the county government. These are some of the many recurrent expenses for that matter, Mr. Speaker. Of course, the annual wage drift, Mr. Speaker. Every year, as you know, there's annual wage and salary increment for the staff. So where do they get the money if we don't consider this? But still, as I keep on supporting 465 to the county governors, I still keep on reminding them to sort the animal, the stinking animal, Mr. Speaker, called the pending bills. We cannot also be on the floor all the time understanding the situations at the county and pushing for more funding if the governors are also not doing what they're supposed to do. They need to ensure that their pending bills are at zero levels. I was so impressed yesterday in Kitui County whereby we met the county assembly and they reported to us that their pending bills is at zero. They have no pending bill. These are the same institutions working in the same counties. Which formulas is this one using versus the one? And the issues of, yes, I know there are challenges in terms of timely disbursement of funds from the National Treasury, but all said, there should be schedules that should be adhered to clear that, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, in our many observations, we note that there has been marginal growth in the county equitable share from the previous financial years, despite the substantive growth in the shareable revenue. Financial year 25-26, which is this year, while shareable revenue is estimated to grow by 10%, which is 259. Counties are projected to increase by 17.7 billion from this revenue growth, Mr. Speaker. That over the years, the county equitable share has an average of 2.23 of the GDP, and in the year 2025-26, nominal GDP is projected to be 19.5 trillion. Mr. Speaker, as a committee, we were able to make some recommendations, and we made the following. Clause 3 be amended to make a reference to Article 2021 of the Constitution, which requires revenue raised nationally be equitably between the national and the county levels. Mr. Speaker, this is an emphasis that as a committee we really emphasize, because it is in the Constitution. It is not our words. We are not making this. The schedule to the bill be amended such that the total shareable revenue is 2.7. Remember, I said earlier, the minister tabled and communicated that the projected revenue collection is not 2.8, but 2.7. We adopted that, Mr. Speaker. So the total shareable revenue to be at 2.756. The most recent accounts of the revenue as approved by the National Assembly, as I earlier communicated, is at 1.9 and for financial year 2021-2022. And I want also to add the National Assembly Committee of Finance to speed up on ensuring that the last audited and approved financial reports are as recent as the financial year 2023-2024. We are already in 2025. This issue of lagging behind, not approving this, the audited reports, is not really looking so good. National government share, Mr. Speaker, at 2.2 trillion. And now, this is where we say the county government share at 465 billion. Equalization fund. Equalization fund, Mr. Speaker, is something that the Office of the Minister of Finance, they are aware of these figures. They are not disputing these figures. Figures amounting to 9.6 billion. And the equalization arrears at 2.7, Mr. Speaker. Every time they've appeared, they've confirmed that these monies will be put in the budget. It is the high time we also close on this issue of the equalization fund, because time is not on our side. The duration was to be 20 years. The duration is almost lapsing. But it was clear that the project that had started, they need to be completed. But then how they completed without funding, Mr. Speaker? This is an issue that should not actually be in so much discussion. The issue of the equalization fund should be an issue that the Ministry of Finance sorts it out completely. Mr. Speaker, with those many and few, I want to urge colleagues to really support understanding where we are coming from as a committee. The stakeholders that I mentioned earlier, Mr. Speaker, these are very experienced stakeholders that we've walked journeys with, stakeholders who understand where we are coming from. And I also want to challenge the governors. Can you see your own source revenue? Can we see what you are collecting? Is it upwards? Is it downwards? Is it, standard? We need to see the projection of the own source revenue. As we fight to support the 465, as much as I know, with the proposal of 4 or 5, definitely we are going to go for mediation. I don't dispute. But as much as that discussion will be in place, can we see improvement on your own source revenue? You should be more dependent. By now, and I'm happy, Mr. Speaker, that on Thursday, and I want to remind and really urge colleagues, the issue of the formula is a very critical issue. We have our breakfast meeting on Thursday. I request that we all attend, and be able to have this conversation, because our aim, Mr. Speaker, with anything above 400 on this equitable share, we have ensured as a committee that no county will lose. No county will get less, Mr. Speaker. With those few, I want to really appreciate my colleagues from the Finance Committee, the Secretariat that really work closely with, and I do second. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Senators, I propose the question that the Division of Revenue Bill, National Assembly Bills number 10 of 2025 be now read a second time. Senator Mudigi Alexander.
Asante Bwana Spika. Mimi naunga mkono mjadala ambaye unaendelea ya ugawanyaji pesa za county na pia national government. Bwana Spika, kwa hii kipindi ya miaka ambaye tumekuwa hapa katika kutoka mwaka wa 2022 tumekuwa tukitaabika, county zimekuwa na shida nyingi sana. Na pia tumekuwa tukililia sisi maseneta vile county sitakuwa sinapata pesa ambaye inaweza kuwasaidia. Lakini kumekuwa na shinda ya national government na MPs na pia na treasury. Hata tukipatiwa pesa kiasi gani kumekuwa na shinda, unakuta magavana wanalia na watu ambaye wakasahau katika Kenya mambo ya devolution. Sisi maseneta tuko hapa katika kutetea devolution. Na mambo ya devolution katika ile wakati wa zamani, devolution kuna serikali ya county zote zilipatiwa department 10. Na mambo ya ajabu Bwana Speaker, mara mingi kumekuwa na shinda kwa sababu hata zile pesa tumetua tukipatiana kule katika county government, pesa imekuwa ni kidogo, departments zingine zimekuwa asipati pesa kwa sababu pesa nyingi imekuwa ikienda upande wa hospitali na pia zile zingine upande wa agriculture na pia upande za ingine wa parapara, lakini unakuta kama livestock na vitu zingine hiyo pesa haitoshi. Bwana Speaker, nataka niseme tumekuwa tukishuhudia counties nyingi magavana wamekuwa akiteseka, wamekuwa wakipata shinda kwa sababu hata wakati waliingia Bwana Speaker walikuta mambo ya pending bill na wenji bill kama Embu County kumekuwa na shinda kwa sababu hata ile mambo ya kugawa ile pesa katika county ile mambo ilikuwako zamani haikufanya mgawa pesa kulingana vile inawezekana ama vile inafaa kwa sababu tunajua Bwana Speaker kulikuwa inaonekana county zile asikuwa na njiweza silipatiwa pesa nyingi na zile county ilikuwa na njiweza ikawa imepatiwa pesa kidogo na kulikuwa Bwana Speaker wakati itafika hizo county iweze kufanywa audit ionekane kama zile county asinjiwezi ama iweza kutumia pesa na njia ile inafaa Bwana Speaker. Kwa hiyo Bwana Speaker, mimi naunga mkono ndio hii pesa tunasema 465 billion county iweze kupatiwa iweze kufanya kazi kulingana na vile inaonekana. Bwana Speaker, tukiwa maseneta kila wakati wote tumekuwa tukiona the promoters daktari waikuja pale kwa ngeti na ni kitu ya hivyo sana na hakuna watu wanaoangalia. Na sasa ni wakati huu tunataka kuomba serikali ya national government na MPs na treasury, sasa ni wakati wao ile finance Senate inataka ile pesa iweze kupatiwa ndio the promoters, daktari na wale watu wengine. Hata Bwana Speaker, tumeona wafanyikazi wa county government wakiserewa kupata misahara na pia mambo mengi na tunaona vile economy inaendelea, mambo mengi inaonekana pesa nyingi zimekuwa na shinda kwa sababu tumeona kama serikali hii unakuta kama mambo ya ushuru ya nyumba, mambo ya ushuru ya SHA inaenda juu. Na ndivyo inaonekana Bwana Speaker kama county government wataweza kupata pesa Bwana Speaker, wataweza kuongezea wale wafanyikazi waweze kulia. Bwana Speaker, magavana wengi wako na shinda kwa sababu tunaona hata wakati mvua inanyesha hawapati pesa ya kutengeneza parapara, mambo ya SHA inafanya kazi sahihi, lakini mambo ya shinda hospitali nyingi karibu sote unakuta magavana wanalia hakuna pesa ya kununua dawa. Kwa hiyo Bwana Speaker, ni mambo mengi sana inafaa iangaliwe. Unakuta hata mambo ya kilimo inafaa inataka kuangaliwa ndio kilimo iweze kuwa na njia ile inafaa kwa sababu unajua Bwana Speaker, wakati tulikuja hapa katika maseneta tulipitisha kuwe na the promoters na pia kuwe na agricultural extension officers na kutoa wakati ule iende ikawa wengine wanjaweza kupata pesa. Lakini Bwana Speaker, kama counties sitaweza kupata pesa na njia ile nafaa au watu wote wataweza kulipwa misahara Bwana Speaker. Kwa hivyo mimi nikiwa senator wa Embu County naweza nasema counties siweze kupatiwa pesa Bwana Speaker. Mambo mengi tumekuwa tukisikia vile MPs wanasema ati governors ama counties inatumia pesa kulingana na njia ile nafaa. Bwana Speaker, mimi ningekataana na mambo ya MPs kwa sababu kazi yao ni wapitishe pesa ikuje katika Senate na Senate iweze kugawa mgayo kulingana vile inafaa ndio county zote iweze kupata pesa. Ni sisi tunafaa tukue ma senators kuangalia mambo ya oversight na kuangalia vile pesa inafanya kazi, lakini sio mambo ya MPs. Mambo mengine Bwana Speaker, ningeomba hata kama counties watapatiwa pesa, tutapitisha budget mpaka uangaliwe kama sile pesa inaonekana, hiyo pesa siwe inapatikana, ndio counties siwe ikipatiwa. Na pia Bwana Speaker, mambo ya treasury tumeona mara mingi. Hata nakumbuka wiki jana waziri wa fedha alikuwa nafaa atembelee katika Senate anjibu maswali, lakini tumeona hakukuja. Kwa hiyo Bwana Speaker, hata mambo ya treasury mpaka Bwana Speaker itaangaliwa, ipiwe mshasha ionekane ama ni nini iko na shinda, ndio waziri wa fedha aweze kupatia county zetu pesa, ndio mwananchi aweze kufaidika. Kwa sababu wakati huu tumeona county nyingi inaweza kufanya kazi, mangava wanafanya kazi, na pia waweze kufanya kulingana vile nafaa. Kwa sababu kusema ukweli, county nyingi mangavana wanateseka sana. Wafanyikazi wanaselewa mishahara. Watu wengi wapati pesa kulingana vile nafaa. Mambo mengi kama sahi. Hata nakumbuka katika Embu County kulikuwa na shinda kidogo wakati governor wa Embu County. Nakumbuka vizuri. Pesa ile wizara ya agriculture ilipitisha inue chakula, iliserewa na gavana akaweza pesa wakati ilikuja akanunua mahindi ikiwa imechelewa, lakini wakuta mpaka sai yende ikawa pesa nje piano nyingine ya kununua fertilizer, mkulima yese kupelekewa na gavana. Kwa hivyo saa nyingine mambo mengine Bwana Speaker, gavana wako na anja ya kufanyia mwananchi kazi, lakini kulingana na vile iko katika pesa mbali inatoka kunakuwa na shinda. Kwa hiyo saa nyingine tuweza kuwa mangavana na shinda ni sisi, ni treasury ama ni parliament ama ni mali pesa inatoka. Kwa hiyo Bwana Speaker, tumeona mwaka jana ile pesa hii mwaka inaenda kuisha, mambo mengi pesa haikutosha, lakini kama Bwana Speaker, hata kama ni mambo ya mediation, hata kama wale watu tutachagua professionals katika Senate wataenda kufanya mediation na serikali kuu, waweze kuangalia ile pesa isipunguzwe, iweze kuwa hata kama itapungua iende chini kidogo, ndio tuweze kusaidia ukatusi, ndio economy ya county zetu iweze kuendelea vizuri. Kwa sababu unaona kama sasa wakati walipata pesa kidogo wameweza kuangalia mambo ya kilimo, unakuta manjani, kahawa, makandamia, maembe, vitu nyingi magavana wanataka iwe value addition, na serikali ya Kenya Kwanza ina support, na vitu zingine unakuta kama mirasi kumeuka iwe value addition, ndio mkulima watu waweze kujisimamisha, ndio miaka itakayokuja serikali kuu ikiendelea vizuri na serikali ya national government, serikali kuu na serikali ya ukatusi iweze kuendelea vizuri, ndio economy ya county zote iweze kuendelea. Kwa hiyo Bwana Speaker, mimi naunga mkono. Asante.
Sababu nilianza kuongea kabla umalize, naomba nimpe Seneta Mogeni Okongo Mogeni aulize.
Asante mheshimiwa.
Nimesema nilianza kuongea kabla malize.
Yes.
Angesimamisha hotuba yake anisikize mimi mwenyekiti.
Mheshimiwa Speaker, unajua hii nyumba yetu ni ya rekodi, na vile tunazungumza hapa Wakenya wanashuhudia huu mjadala kwenye runinga, na inatakana yale ambayo tunazungumza hapa yawe ni mambo ya ukweli ambayo tukiuliza swali tunaweza kutetea. Sasa nataka kuuliza hoja ya nidhamu kwa rafiki yangu Senator wa Embu. Amesema kwamba yeye anangoja siku ambapo serikali itafanya muguka iwe na value addition. Mimi ningetaka kuelewa katika sayansi yetu, Mheshimiwa Speaker, atueleze kuna uthabiti umefanywa unaweza kusema kwamba kweli muguka inaweza kufanywa value addition. Nielewe kutoka Senator wa Embu.
Senator Mudigi.
Speaker, ni vile nimesema mambo mengi inafaa pesa ipatikane, mkulima aweze kufaidika. Ingawa hata watu wengi ni kama vile wewe mwenyewe ulikuwa hapa ulisema kama Mount Kenya wanakuwa favored mambo ya kilimo, na ukasema vile tunakuwa favored, lakini mambo mengi inafaa iangaliwe, ndio mkulima wote katika Kenya hawezi kuangaliwa kama ni mambo ya ule mkulima wa mguka mrasi kumora, na mambo ya kilimo ya majani, na mambo ya kilimo kama ya sukari, vitu nyingi ndio iwe value addition, ndio mkulima awache kutaapika. Kwa hivyo hata kama haijakuwa inakubaliwa, lakini kuna mambo inafaa ifanywe ndio mkulima yote katika Kenya aweze kufaidika.
Senator Mudigi vile aliuliza ni kama kwamba mguka inaweza fanyiwa value addition. Inaweza kuwa tengenezwa vitu gani? Mguka inaweza tengenezwa vitu gani ingine ndio uongeze
mrasi tu
faida kwake?
Mguka stroke mura, kama Bwana Spika, kama inaweza kuangaliwa njia ile inafaa. Inaweza kutengeneza juice, inaweza kutengeneza wine, pia muoka inaweza kutengeneza hata ndawa ambaye ya kuvuvua mili. Ile ambaye kama mtu amedungwa sindano akiwa ako hali mahututi, inaweza kutengeneza vitu kama hiyo. Ile kitu inafaa ni kutolewa pesa ya kufanya research, na sio muoka stroke peke yake, hata vitu nyingi. Ndio mimi namaliza. Kwa hiyo naunga mkono pesa iweze kutoka nyingi, na serikali iweze kuangalia mambo ya research ya vitu nyingi, sio mwoka peke yake ama mrasi tuku peke yake. Asante Bwana Spika. Kwa hiyo naunga mkono.
Seneta Mudigi, umejibu vizuri kabisa. Umeeleza vizuri vile mwoka ama miraa inaweza tafutiwa namna nyingine kuongeza dhamana yake. Who do you want to inform Senator Cullen? But he's done. But what other information do you have? Maybe you have some experience of what Mira can do better or Mogoka.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I want to inform Senator Mudigi that actually, as we speak today, there is a booming business of Jaba juice that is going on in Nairobi, and we have several brands. It's actually a drink. I don't want to say if I have consumed it or not, but I have seen people consuming it. It is called by brand name Jaba Juice, with different brands depending on the company that produces it. And what this has done, Mr. Speaker, is that it has expanded the base of the people who consume Jaba, because ordinarily there are people who would not chew mogoka or mira, but they are comfortable sipping the Jaba juice and feeling the handas effect of the mira.
Thank you, Senator Karen. Also, maybe I will advise that you should also taste and also enjoy the experience. The other benefits which come with the Jaba juice and any juice associated with the mira, they have very good benefits. You should just try. Also, I'll ask our good doctor, Dr. Aliboni, you should also try that juice. It can really be of good benefit to you. I have that experience and I know it works so well. Senator Mboni, you are the next contributor to this motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, before I support this motion, allow me to acknowledge the advice you've given me that I partake of this. While you are saying it, a youth has sent me quickly, real time, we're being followed, that I ask you, does that juice have any aphrodisiac capabilities? Mr. Speaker, just for the sake of the youth who has asked.
You know, aphrodisia is only, do you say about what does it mean? Do you want me to tell you what it can do to you if you partake it? That's Speaker, why I want you to experience it. Just do, also maybe accompany Senator Cullen. She will show you where you can get it. And then you just try, you can try them both of you. And maybe, because also she has not experienced.
Mr. Speaker, if next time I'm found with Senator Karen in Nairobi, please make sure that you explain to the husband, Somido, that it was with your permission. Otherwise, I was not going to go out with her, Mr. Speaker.
And make your contribution to the motion.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for the advice, and I rise, Mr. Speaker, to support this bill. Mr. Speaker, this is a bill that you cannot oppose, because we want to share revenue between the two levels of government. What you can do, however, is in supporting it, you spot the things that are not relevant or necessary in this bill so that we make it better. Mr. Speaker, for this reason, I support and propose that this House does so, but with the amendments. Mr. Speaker, the key amendment that we shall have to do is to ensure that the money reflects the functions that the county governments are supposed to do and the functions that the national governments are supposed to do. Reading through the bill, Mr. Speaker, the National Assembly tends to overemphasize what the government has called national interest. On another day, Mr. Speaker, I'll challenge either the Deputy President, because he was the first to speak to it, and these MPs, to tell Kenyans what exactly they mean by national interest. Are you saying that the functions, some of them, that are done in county governments do not carry national interest with them, Mr. Speaker? Really? Agriculture that feeds the Republic is a function of grave national interest. And therefore, counties should not be denied money on the assumption that there is a greater interest that is only discharged by the national government. Similarly, Mr. Speaker, the question of treating Kenyans is a matter of grave national interest, is done by counties. Mr. Speaker, the matter of early childhood development education is a matter of grave interest to this nation, is done by county governments, and so on and so forth. So, Mr. Speaker, we would want to urge members of the National Assembly to try and understand devolution better and appreciate that all of them come from one county or the other. And that being the case, they should not, while making a decision on the actual quantum of what goes where, be tempted to think that they owe it to the national government. When we are dividing revenue, all MPs, members of the National Assembly and senators, must ensure the proper principles of division of revenue between the two levels of government. Mr. Speaker, I want to propose that this House rises and stands behind the proposed figures of division, where we propose that the national government gets 465 billion shillings and the national government gets 2.231 trillion shillings. Mr. Speaker, if we do so, we believe, as the Committee of Finance, that we shall have hit the balance and both levels of government will be able to meet their development and recurrent mandate. Mr. Speaker, as we divide this money, the national government must know that the 2.231 trillion that they are remaining with, when it comes to development, all the 8 regions of Kenya, they must see equity. We are tired, Mr. Speaker. We are sick and tired, Mr. Speaker, to go around the country, and when you go to one region of Kenya, you find it is 100 years ahead of another region in this country, Mr. Speaker. And the only crime that the region which is 100 years behind is because a son from that region or from a community of that region has never risen to the presidency or the office of prime minister. This bad behavior of development following the region and community from which the top leadership of the country comes from must come to an end in the new Kenya. In the new Kenya, we want all our 8 regions to enjoy development equitably. Mr. Speaker, it's wrong for one single region. It's wrong for one sub-county in this republic to be left behind. All sub-counties, 290 of them, 47 counties must, together with the 8 regions of the Republic of Kenya, be seen to move at the same pace. Mr. Speaker, in this particular 2.231 trillion that is remaining at the national government. We would like the cabinet of His Excellency, President William Samoei Ruto, the man we campaigned for, the man we support, and the man we want to succeed so that our country can succeed. We would like them to hear us clearly that we, the people of Western region, expect in this parliament, in this cabinet, in this budget, we expect that for the first time since the creation of the country called Kenya, for the first time, the people of Western Kenya will enjoy the dual carriage in going home and coming to the capital city of Kenya. We expect, Mr. Speaker, a dual carriage from Nairobi to Nakuru to Mau Summit. Mr. Speaker, at that point, we expect that dual carriage to go into 2 branches, one branch to go to Kericho, and Kericho to Kisumu, and Kisumu to Kakamega, and Kakamega to join the other branch at Kabarengu in Webuye. And this other one, Mr. Speaker, because they might not know where we want the road to go through, I'm defining to them the other dual carriage. Upon diversion at Mau Summit, it should go, Mr. Speaker, to Eldoret, Kabarengu, Bungoma, Malaba border. And this will be massive because it is going to be a game changer in the economy of the Republic of Kenya. It should not be lost to Kenyans that when I say this, I'm not only saying as a patriotic son of this country who was born in the western region of Kenya, but I'm saying it as a man who is alive to the fact that if we don't grow our economy, the population has been growing much faster, we will burst. And therefore, we will be responding, Mr. Speaker, to the fact that Kenya's biggest single trading partner is Uganda. Coupled with the contribution of the trade that we do with Bujumbura and the trade we do with Kigali, Mr. Speaker, and the trade that we do with Goma, this dueling will be a game changer. And it should, Mr. Speaker, be followed by a standard gauge rail line. We insist that this is the future of Kenya. And what is more, so that I don't look like I only look at the Republic of Kenya through the prisms of where my community comes from, it's important that as we dual the western part, we should also dual the highway from Nairobi to Mutembei, to Voi, and to Mombasa, because Mombasa is the gateway into this country, and because Mombasa is the one through which all the huge volume of trade that we do with Uganda, with Bujumbura, with Kigali, and with Juba, where it comes through. Mr. Speaker, we expect the national government, through the 2.231 billion shillings, Mr. Speaker, to ensure that the projects of Vision 2030 that were identified by President Mwai Kibaki are actualized. There is the critical project of LAPSET, the Lamu project, creating that port, Mr. Speaker. It is being done half-heartedly, as if we don't want to create jobs, as if we don't want to open the economy through the northern corridor. We need to do the LAPSET project. We need to fix a dual carriage from Lamu to Malindi to Mombasa, and from Lamu all the way to Garissa, into Ethiopia, and into South Sudan, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, it's only when we do this that we shall create jobs. I am one of the firm believers that our children to be afforded an opportunity, Mr. Speaker, to get jobs abroad is a good idea. But I also know that creating jobs at home is a better idea. When our educated youth leave this country to go to work abroad because we are chasing after diaspora remittances to the country, it's a good thing. But having them work at home so that all their income is earned and left here is a better thing. So, as the government pushes to push our children for jobs abroad, they have a greater responsibility to create jobs at home. And we would like election 2027 to turn on what it is that we are doing for our youth. As a father of youth, I believe that we owe it to them that we give them jobs locally. I have some of the top young professionals in my family, and I wouldn't want such a brilliant children not to work for the Republic of Kenya. I would like them to work here so that they emulate me, how I worked for this republic before I came to this parliament. Mr. Speaker, it's not a joke. It is not by accident that the United States is ahead, that China is chasing them, that India is chasing them. It is because, Mr. Speaker, these three countries, they make sure the best of their best work at home. And in the case of China and India, they send the best of their students to the top universities in the United States. And once they qualify, they come back home to develop their own countries. Mr. Speaker, further to the road infrastructure that I've spoken to, the people of the western region of this country, which has been discriminated against for over 60 years, expect that because of the presence of the university teaching at the School of Medicine at the Masinde Muliro University, that the former Provincial General Hospital of Kakamega will be elevated to level 6 so that the university can use that institution to train our medical staff. Mr. Speaker, the people of Western are tired of waking up at 3 a.m. so as to come and catch a plane in Kisumu or a plane in Eldoret so as to be in Nairobi in 29 minutes. When all we have to do to cure this is to develop the airport in Kakamega. Mr. Speaker, yes? Yes, you can help me if you like.
Senator Boni,
yes.
Avoid the exchanging in...
yes, I am begging him. Don't heckle me, my son. At time, if God blesses you... Senator Eddie, if God blesses you, you might enjoy a long life like Omugeni and myself. And at that time, you'll have appreciated what is Kenya.
Just a minute, Senator Boni Karwale.
Thank you.
What is your point of order, Senator Eddie Okech?
Mr. Speaker, on 105, you know, Senator Boni is throwing aspersion at me. I haven't.
105 referred to as far as that conversation.
Actually, a statement of fact for one, and then 101 on, you know, mischaracterizing a member like him, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, you see, Senator Boni, first of all, has said that all the people from Western, and particularly Kakamega, and in particular people from Malinyi, where he comes from, must catch their flights in Kisumu and must catch their flight in Eldoret. As far as I'm concerned, Mr. Speaker, there's an airstrip in Kakamega, and I've seen the senator himself catch a flight to Kakamega. What I wanted to wish him the guy to do is how can we improve that airport in Kakamega so that It has a longer...
What is out of order? Or maybe...
So what is out of order with Mr. Speaker? First of all, claiming that there's no airstrip or airport in Kakamega, one, and number two, to start throwing aspersions on me that I was heckling him, Mr. Speaker, when I was very quiet listening to him, and he has kept me in this house to listen to him, because I like listening to the wisdom from the bullfighter from Malaysia. So, you know, you should not be scared at me. I'm not a heckler, and I'm not heckling you. I'm just listening very, very carefully, and actually the kind that you say that we improve the airport in Kakamega.
Senator Boni.
Mr. Speaker, I hope my time was held for me, and Kenyans have heard you, and Kenyans had heard me, and therefore they'll make their own judgment. The only thing I want to say in that particular point that you have raised is remember the parable of the old man who taught his son how to fly using wings that had been fixed on their shoulders using wax. He told them, fly, but not too high. When he refused, the boy flew too high, the wax melted, and the boy came dangling. That you sit with us in this august house, please, you sit here, you fly on wings fixed with our wax. Know how high to fly. When you see us flying, you might come tangling, I tell you. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, the last point I want to make is on the issue, sorry, Madam Speaker, you have changed the speakership, is the issue of housing. Yes, the housing project that is ongoing looks feasible. But as I said many months ago about the housing, the vision of housing, I want to remind government that housing was one of the Vision 2030 projects. The reason why Kenyans continue fighting this project today, it is because of the model of implementation of the housing project. When President Mwai Kibaki put this project in Vision 2030, and it was also carried by President Uhuru, the funding model was not that the people with a paycheck, they have their pay slips raided so that they build houses for people who are desirous of owning houses. The government had to have a budget which Vision 2030 aligned with the vision of development, and most of you who live in this city, you saw the slum upgrading project, and there was no outcry. Today, the houses are even better, but there is an outcry, because the guy whose pay slip is raided is asking himself, was I born to go to school, get a job, and start doing affirmative action for Kenyans in need of housing on behalf of the government? We want, now that President William Ruto has allowed Prime Minister Raila Odinga to give him an expert in the name of Mbadi, a man I respect, truly brilliant in keeping with the super people of Nyanza. It's brilliant just like Tom Mboya. Mr. Speaker, Mbadi, to go all out of the way so that we continue the housing project but develop a more friendly funding model than raiding the pay slips of the people. When we say these things, it's not because we are against the government. It is because we are for the success of the government, and we want a government that affords all Kenyans comfort. Madam Speaker, I was looking at a woman who I know very well from Kakamega, who had just gotten a house in Mukuru. And I was very excited. She was now going to get a better house. With those many remarks, my time is gone. I support with amendments.
Senator Eddie. Okay.
I must come for you. I thank you, Madam Speaker, for this opportunity to also share some thoughts here on this Division of Revenue Bill 2025, which is essentially a vertical share of our natural resources. And Madam Speaker, in this year, what has come from National Assembly is that we aim to have a budget of 2.7 trillion. And out of this budget, Madam Speaker, in a layman's language, the National Assembly is proposing that the national government gets 2.4 trillion out of this budget, which will represent 85.33% of the budget that we hope to raise in this next budget year, and then give counties 405 billion. To be specific, 405.069 billion. That, Madam Speaker, would represent 14.28% of the total budget that we hope to raise. Madam Speaker, I'm alive to the fact that sometimes ordinary revenue is not collected to what we hope to get, and therefore I empathize with that fact. However, Madam Speaker, the requirements of Article 203, Madam Speaker, is about equitable share of these national resources, Madam Speaker. That equitable share, Madam Speaker, does require, therefore, that when sharing this revenue, then it behooves the National Treasury, which, Madam Speaker, I've said a time without number in this House, that I wish that the National Treasury was independent, to view the national government as different and county government as different, and then be a fair avenue for sharing resources. Because, Madam Speaker, it behooves the National Treasury to ask itself, is this sharing formula that's proposed here, the vertical share, equitable? And how will you know that it's equitable? Madam Speaker, the element of equity will come when you revisit Schedule 4 of the Constitution. Because Schedule 4 of the Constitution, Madam Speaker, does align resources to functions. And those functions, Madam Speaker, are clearly stipulated to the extent that they are national functions of government and they are county functions of governance. And Madam Speaker, time without number, that idea of equitable share is elusive to the country because we do not cost those functions. And Madam Speaker, when the CS for Finance showed up before the Finance Committee, me being a member there together with the previous speaker, the good senator from Kakamega, Senator Boni, although he likes seeing me as is more of his son's age mate than a legislator in this house, but he will remember that I told the CS that there are things that if you do, then you borderline underfunding counties, but there are those that if you do, then you are defunding counties. And I think that those two distinctions are still very elusive to the National Treasury. Because, Madam Speaker, the desire of this House, having looked at the stress that counties face with regards to the functions that counties have, and not just underfunded, but actually non-funded. They are findable, but they're not fundable by the national government, Madam Speaker. So the proposal that you give counties 405 billion, Madam Speaker, if you do the calculus, and I'll go through the calculus as fast as I can, you are actually defunding counties. And this is something that we will not take lightly, Madam Speaker. You remember the other day, Madam Speaker, on a lighter note, but on a very serious note, Madam Speaker was thrown out of this house for insisting that the CS for healthcare, for the health system in this country, Madam Speaker, should not tempt to take the payroll of universal healthcare workers to counties without following it with money. Should not even attempt, should not even dream of it. Because, Madam Speaker, for the last 2 years that we have been fighting about finance bill in this particular house, any money that is given to counties is money that is funding non-discretionary expenses. They are expenses that have emerged due to national government policy that puts constraint and stress on counties without following them with money. Madam Speaker, if you implement a policy, for instance, of housing levy deductions, it happens at the national level, and the employees of the counties also have to face the same. Yet the counties did not have that in their budget when devolution was taking root. Madam Speaker, that goes to about 4 billion that counties have to face. Madam Speaker, if you enact contributions that have bulged on National Social Security Fund, it affects the staffers of the counties. And when it affects them to a point of 3.7 billion, it was not catered for in the calculus before we got to where we are right now, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the national government, through the presidency, made a statement and a concession between them and the national and the county government that there's going to be a creation of county integrated industrial parks, commonly known as KIPES, Madam Speaker. This is a whooping 11 billion responsibilities on counties that then they must shoulder. Yet, it was not catered for in the calculus that then constituted money that goes to counties. And worse, it was not funded. The responsibility was given half to national government, half to county government, without knowing where county governments would get this. But because it's a commitment and projects are already going on, Madam Speaker, it goes without saying that then it has to be funded. Madam Speaker, we know the issue that we discussed in Turkana when we went to the county, to the Senate Mashinani in Turkana. The issue of community health promoters program. Madam Speaker, we held the view in this house that this is a primary health function that is purely devolved, and therefore it ought to have been funded and financed. First of all, costed, then financed by national government, and then if it's a hallmark project, let counties deal with it. The national government chose that they will do a stipend of a half of it and let counties deal with a half of it. If you give counties money, because these people are already in their form of payroll, Madam Speaker, they have to be financed. Madam Speaker, we know very well of the outstanding issues around doctors' CBA. Counties have to face this burden if our healthcare system has to work. All this, Madam Speaker, we haven't talked about the wage drift that happens automatically in our system, where it has to be adjusted by about 5% every year that counties then have to finance. If you look at all that burden, it is a non-discretionary burden, meaning it is money that is already must be paid. You can't, there's no two ways about it. So, what does this number come to, Madam Speaker? Just to deal with those non-discretionary expenses in counties, Madam Speaker, it would mean that our counties will need up until 420 billion. So that is commensurate with that non-discretionary fund. For a bill to come from the National Assembly, Madam Speaker, that proposes that counties then must be given only 405 billion, is an abuse. It's an abuse to the system of devolution that has brought hope to this country. It's an abuse to the system of equity that is proposed under Article 204 or 203. Because, Madam Speaker, counties will barely have even any money to do discretionary expenses. Among them, and the most important one, dealing with development in our counties. So this is something, Madam Speaker, that I think that we must stamp our foot on as Senate and insist on the calculus that we came up with that was giving counties, or proposing that in this financial year, regardless of the fiscal stress that the national government must have, counties must get 465 billion. They must. Because otherwise, Madam Speaker, you end up running counties that are barely running a cash flow business, where they are only paying for workers, but there is no development. No development ever get done in counties, Madam Speaker. And when there's no development projects in counties, Madam Speaker, it goes without saying that there's no money circulation. There's no money revolving in our counties, Madam Speaker. The second calculus, Madam Speaker, that I wanted to emphasize on is this courage. I don't know where the National Assembly gets this courage from. That you can be sent by the people of Kenya from your respective constituency to go and do your role in Parliament. And one of those roles, Madam Speaker, is simply to approve audited reports sent to you by the Auditor General. Simple job. Go, scan through, scrutinize, read, understand what the Auditor General has talked about in the previous year's financial statements about our entire country, and approve or disapprove it. Then, Madam Speaker, the National Assembly of Kenya, the last audited report that they have gotten time to approve is the audited report of the financial year 2020-2021. Now, Madam Speaker, the reason why this is a very important calculus is because under Article 203 of the Constitution, Madam Speaker, the requirement is that equitable share that we must horizontally share between national government and county government is predicated upon the last audited reports considered and approved by National Assembly. Where is justice for devolution? Where is justice for counties and their governments? Where is justice for the people of Kenya if the last audited report that forms the basis of sharing revenue between county government and national government is based on 2021 financial year, Madam Speaker? It is absurd. In fact, I don't know where the courage the majority leader of National Assembly gets to lead a house that sends this kind of division of revenue bill to the Senate of Kenya. And that's what I'm saying, Madam Speaker, without mincing my words. We must fight that the Senate of Kenya must be a proper upper house in Parliament of Kenya, Madam Speaker. Even if it means we're going to sponsor our own bill, the National Assembly must understand the significance of legislation that emanates from a constitutional democracy, where then you must follow the Constitution and do things right. Madam Speaker, this division of revenue bill that constantly is sent to the House of the Senate without paying attention to the requirement of the Constitution, even after this, the High Court pronounced itself that Parliament should consider audited reports within 3 months, we still have 2 years pending without approval. What is the impact of this, Madam Speaker? The impact of this is, this becomes a con game from counties.
And I'm using that word very strongly because if you're going to project that you're going to raise money this year of 2.7 trillion, and then you're dividing money for counties based on the financial year 2021, Madam Speaker, 2023, 2022 are not considered, which, if you do the calculus, Madam Speaker, our revenue is growing, but the county revenue will never grow, commensurate to what the National Assembly is giving to national government. This must be corrected, Madam Speaker, because if it's not corrected, then it means the counties are not getting what the Constitution requires, which is equity. Equity. Equity is the word, Madam Speaker. There is no way you can raise 2.7 billion adjusted to inflation, and then you give the national government 85% of that money because there is augmented reasoning around ordinary financial, Madam Speaker. We must insist in this House, and I want to wish the majority leader and the majority whip the courage. If they cannot confront their counterparts in the National Assembly by day, they must confront them by night and have this conversation around audited reports. Because, Madam Speaker, if we use the latest audited report, counties should be able to get actually 470 billion from this. 470 billion. If you look at the last audited report, if they were approved as they are from last year. So, Madam Speaker, this is a very pertinent issue that I wanted to stress on. And as I finish, Madam Speaker, I think it is very important that I mention, Madam Speaker, that one of the amendments that cannot miss is the money that goes to the Equalization Fund, Madam Speaker. Because Equalization Fund, Madam Speaker, established under 204, is one of those clauses that is facing a serious sunset. And, Madam Speaker, the monies that are owed for the Equalization Fund, apart from the fact that it will be 20 years gone without being able to make remedy of section paper number 10 of 1965, where counties did not get proper adjustments in terms of the roads, water and electricity that was envisioned by that particular article, Madam Speaker, there is an agency, Madam Speaker, in terms of making sure that that money works. If, Madam Speaker, you allocated money for these counties to do roads, to do electricity, to give water in 2013, and it was not given, and the national government owes that money to counties up to date, Madam Speaker, what is the value of that money now compared to if it had been released in 2013? Will these northern frontier counties, Madam Speaker, that were affected by this session paper, Madam Speaker, ever get their fair share and, again, equitable development that they need to get? I doubt, Madam Speaker, because the value of money keeps on adjusting. And, Madam Speaker, because CRA under Article 116 and 117 has been given the mandate to help restructure conversation around Equalization Fund, Madam Speaker, there are some pockets of communities that equally face some form of marginalization, Madam Speaker. For instance, where I come from, the people of Kuria, if you go to a place like Komosoko Nyamusense, the people of Kuria have faced serious marginalization. If you come to Nyatike sub-county, the people of Mutembei have faced some form of marginalization. The people of Sori have faced some form of marginalization. If you go to Kuria East, in Migori County, Madam Speaker, a place called Masangora has faced some form of marginalization. And in its wisdom, CRA saw that they should be included in this Equalization Fund, Madam Speaker. And I know that up to over 34 counties, including where my good senator from Kakamega comes from, there are some places, Madam Speaker, that people still live in pathetic areas, pathetic lifestyle, without basic human needs: water, roads, electricity. Yet, Madam Speaker, this is becoming a strategic debt, and I'm saying strategic because the national government has constantly
secluded this fund and never given to counties, Madam Speaker. So this equalization fund must go back to counties, Madam Speaker. I know that my time is much spent, but I want to support that with this report the way it is. We support the report, but look at those amendments.
Senator Karen Nyama.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Division of Revenue Bill is a requirement of Article 218 of the Constitution, and the main operative word for this bill is equity. And its purpose is to divide or allocate funds from the national government between the two levels of government for continuity of services and the programs at both levels. This year, the allocation of revenue has dipped, to the county specifically, has dipped from 10.4% in 2024-2025 financial year to 9.3% in 2025-2026 financial year. And the national government allocation has increased. We as a House had proposed, through our committee, had proposed that counties be allocated 465 billion in view of the various services that have been devolved. We have devolved the medical services in a big way. We have devolved education, the lower education, and so many other functions and services that the county governments are expected to give to the citizens that need financial support. Madam Speaker, this bill has, I see they have factored 10.5 billion equalization fund arrears that the national government is going to, that has been allocated to the county government from the national government as a reason for suppressing this allocation to the county governments. But while we know that actually the equalization fund is a special fund that is aside from this allocation of revenue. This bill also refers to national interest as if it's an exclusive of national government. It's as if what county governments are doing is not of national interest. National interest can be undertaken by both levels of government, so that is not a reason to have monies from counties, instead of getting increased as we go by the years, reducing this amount. We should not contemplate a situation where, instead of increasing the amount to counties, we are actually decreasing this amount. We are charged to protect devolution, and if we oversee such a trend where a bill like this passes through this House and we have noted the decrease and the suppression of allocation to counties, then it is a very dangerous trend that we should not adjudicate ourselves. So, Madam Speaker, I propose that this being a requirement of the Constitution, we support it, but these crucial amendments that we speak of, particularly the figures that are going to counties, must be looked into. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Senator Mogeni.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for the opportunity to also make my contribution to the Division of Revenue Bill 2025. Madam Speaker, this is one of our most important undertakings as Senator to ensure that we truly protect devolution. Because our Constitution is very clear that we devolve power and resources. And I know, Madam Speaker, that you are a champion of devolution, having served in the committee that was implementing the Constitution. And you are very good defenders of this Constitution. In fact, I wish that committee had transited to be permanent so that we truly protect devolution. From the onset, Madam Speaker, this figure of 405.1 billion may look very attractive. But when you look at the percentage of our audited revenue that is being given to our county, it translates to something like 21%, though we are being told here that it's 25.5. And I was doing my calculation, it looks like 21%, Madam Speaker. We will never see the fruits of devolution if we don't give adequate resources to our counties. Because what we'll be doing, Madam Speaker, is just making our counties employment bureaus, where the resources that we send to our counties will be used purely for payment of salaries and overhead expenses, and then some little balance that remains is used to just put marams in our roads. True devolution, Madam Speaker, the way I look at it, true devolution should mean that the people of Nyamira should not think of coming to Nairobi to seek treatment. They should have hospitals all the way from a level 2 to a level 5 hospital where they can be attended to, get the best Medicare possible, Madam Speaker. And if SHA was working, and I heard a senator here saying that SHA is working, but I want to tell you, Madam Speaker, as somebody who spends time with my people on the ground, SHA is very problematic. In fact, many Kenyans are crying and asking questions why we shifted them from NHIF to SHA that is not being accepted in many hospitals, including issues of technology. Those want to, benefit from SHA, log in, they wait some the whole day, they go back to their homes. Some try to go to private hospitals. They are told, no, SHA only works in public hospitals. They go to public hospitals. There are no drugs, Madam Speaker. We're really being very unsympathetic to our people, especially the people who are down at our villages, Madam Speaker. Because us, we are lucky. We have our medical insurance. Our staff have medical insurance. They can get treatment in all our private hospitals. But what about the person in the village? My aunt who has remained in Nyamira, my cousin in Nyamira, the person who voted for me back in Nyamira, Madam Speaker. This thing is still not working. So I plead to our governors to make our hospitals functional, Madam Speaker, so that anybody seeking medical help from a public hospital can go to a public hospital, be attended to as a one, stopover, so that you get consultation, you get prescription for your drugs. If there is an X-ray, you do it there, and then you go home, Madam Speaker, with medicine. But this idea of you go to Keroka Health Center or Nyamira Referral Hospital, you are attended, and then finally you are told, go and buy your medicine from a private chemist. It's not fair at all, Madam Speaker. So I hope as we year in, year out, pass the Division of Revenue Bill, send money to our counties, it can transform the lives of our people down at the county level, Madam Speaker. We want to see our counties becoming attractive, Madam Speaker, so that investors can pitch camp in Nyamira and do business there, Madam Speaker. I want to see value addition. When I grew up, my grandmother was selling bananas, just bananas. 12 years into devolution, I have not seen value addition, Madam Speaker. There's a time I was being told Nyamira will produce some wine made from bananas. I haven't seen it in any supermarket as we speak today. I was told that Nyamira will produce banana crisps. I haven't seen banana crisps in any of our supermarket. And that was the dream of devolution, Madam Speaker, that we can make our counties to become economic giants, so that those who want to do farming, those who want to do trade, Madam Speaker, can do so at the counties. We stop this thing of rural-urban migration, Madam Speaker. And then we need fairness, Madam Speaker. I'm being taxed for affordable housing. I pay tax. The people of Nyamira are paying tax. Today they watched a project being launched in Mukuru, Kwanjenga, but we don't have an affordable housing project in the county of Nyamira, Madam Speaker. So if you are launching in Nairobi, how are the people in Nyamira feeling, Madam Speaker? We should be innovative. If we are not able to do flats, go down to the villages. Those people who don't have houses, build for them, Madam Speaker. Because we don't all have to live in flats. If the people in Nairobi are happy to live in flats, go to Nyamira and look at the houses of the poor of the poorest, in garage-thatched homes. Build for them homes, Madam Speaker. Build 100 and then go and launch them, Majority Leader. That will be my wish for my people, Madam Speaker. Because we may not all want to live in skyscrapers. The skyscrapers, our New York of Nairobi, our New York is Nairobi City. But back at counties, that's what we should do. When we went to Wazingishu, I had an engagement with youths in Ziwa. There's a place called Ziwa. I think one of them is called Joel. A guy is called Joel. We were in Ziwa Hospital. A very nice facility, by the way. And Joel told me, you people at the Senate, when you talk in the Senate, also talk on our needs. And he told me they have problems with SHA. SHA is not being accepted in their private hospitals in Eldoret. When they go there, Madam Speaker, they are told SHA can only be used in public hospitals. I think we have had this thing for 1 year. We have known the problems. Let us now respond to the challenges that SHA is facing. Because I can tell you, and all of us senators, if we are to be honest, there is no, the public hospitals have no capacity to treat all Kenyans. That's a fact. They don't have capacity to treat all Kenyans. Two, they are not well equipped with medicine. Okay? You will go to a public hospital, you will be attended, there will be consultation, but you will not get medicine. I can tell you, and God is my witness, and Senator Cheragay knows the people I'm talking about. The people at home in Nyamira who work for me used to go to a hospital with NHIF, to Ichuni private hospital. They get treated, consultation included, they get prescription, and drugs are dispensed. Now they go to Keroka, Madam Speaker, they go to Keroka public hospital, because the SHA is not being accepted in a private hospital, Madam Speaker. Consultation takes place, they get a prescription, then they are told for medicine, go to a private chemist. Madam Speaker, really, we must be sympathetic to these people down there, because it had gone into their mind that once you get a SHA card, the equivalent of NHIF, you will have solved your medical problems. Let us revisit, Senator Cheruiyot, Majority Leader. Let us revisit. As you inform me, these people are watching you and you greeted them, you even took a photo with them.
Mr. Speaker, I don't know whether it is for lack of adequate information that Senator Omogeni is pursuing a certain point, stating that SHA does not pay for citizens when they go to private hospitals. That is not accurate, Senator Omogeni. Private hospitals, just like public hospitals as well, need to enlist. If you check on the website of SHA, there is a list of public institutions and private institutions that have so far enlisted. And when you go there and present your card, it will certainly be accepted, subject to all these other conditions that you know of any insurance card. Just like you have an insurance card, this one of Parliament. You cannot go to any facility. We normally authorize with certain institutions, especially for speciality. I thought maybe what you can do, Senator Mogeni, to help your constituents is to seek an engagement as their representative with them to know which are the private institutions in Nyamira County that have already enlisted where citizens can go and get these services. If you struggle with that, I am willing to assist you so that you get that particular list. And I think that is information that is publicly available. So I thought probably if for one reason or the other, Senator Mogeni didn't have that information, it will be important to know, because it is not true that SHA is not accepted in private institutions. I'm sure you've seen something called RUPA, Senator Mogeni, Rural Private Hospitals Association, which used to have a tiff with SHA towards the end of last year, because they were saying we need to be cleared our bills for previously. That noise has since gone down. So they help your constituents, Senator Mogeni.
Senator Mogeni.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. It's good to be informed by my neighbor in Kericho, but it's also good to really put the facts on record that that issue of registration itself is a problem. Most of these private hospitals have not been enlisted, the ones down at the villages. And you have, Madam Speaker, you have seen press releases by private hospitals giving ultimatum to SHA to pay their pending bills and all this. You see what happens at the end of the day, Madam Speaker? The pain is borne by the consumers of the service, Madam Speaker. So I'm raising this issue on behalf of the residents of Nyamira, and including that friend I found in Ziwa called Joel Yego, who sent me to come and speak on his behalf. And I want to be like a good citizen of this country. That he sent me, and if he gets a chance to watch this debate, he will see that Senator Mogeni is an honest man. He went to Nairobi and raised this matter. My proposal is that perhaps the Senate may consider at some stage to set up an ad hoc committee to evaluate the challenges that Kenyans are facing on accessing services using the SHA card. The intention is good, Senator Cheriot, but unless the people are getting that service to satisfaction, then they will always tell you this thing is not right, this thing is not working. And the other part of the blame is actually on the counties themselves, because there are many challenges in terms of ensuring that our hospitals are well stocked with drugs. That's a major problem. In most county hospitals, Madam Speaker, especially from Nyamira, where I come from, you go to a county hospital, you'll be attended to, but you will not get drugs. So part of the blame squarely lies with our governors. I don't know whether the problem will end if we increase the allocations to counties to 45%. But again, to be honest, governors have very few ambassadors out here because of the way they utilize the resources that are sent to our counties. There is always a tendency of trying to channel resources to employment. You look at the audited accounts, Madam Speaker, most counties have overshot the ceiling in the PFM Act. Some are doing, we were looking at an account the other day that is doing 62% instead of channeling more resources to development. Then, Madam Speaker, on the other hand, let's also speak about national government, because there is a lot of money that remains with the national government, a lot. And I hope when this administration does a construction of the railway line to Kisumu, it will pass through Nyamira to serve the people of Kisii region. The plan has always been, Madam Speaker, that train will have a stopover at Ikonge in North Mogirango. But of late we are hearing rumors, Madam Speaker, that there is a plan to divert that stop to go to our neighboring county and leave the people of Nyamira out. Madam Speaker, that region has coffee farmers, that region has tea farmers, that region has farmers that supply this city with traditional vegetables. I don't know how to call the vegetables in English, but sageti, manogu. The spaghetti and manogu you consume in Nairobi, the bulk of it comes from Nyamira, from Kisii. So if you put that stopover in Ikonge, you will make life easy for farmers, for traders, so that you be fair to the people of Gusii region, as well as being fair to the people of Nyanza region. And I'm sure there will be a stopover either in Kericho or Bomet, I don't know, and then in Narok. Then you would have served all those counties. But anything other than that, Madam Speaker, will be a very big injustice to the people of Nyamira. I also hope that as we share this revenue, Madam Speaker, we also want to enjoy our lives as we travel to our counties. Last weekend, Madam Speaker, the underpass in this road, that the interchange to Maimayu. Madam Speaker, I don't know whether you have had an opportunity of passing through that road. Under that bridge, we have gullies. Lorries coming from Maimayu, the queue starts down. I don't know what is that junction called, the one that goes to Limuru. Simply because we are unable to repair the potholes in that underpass. Yet every time I fuel a car, there is tax for road maintenance. Madam Speaker, every time any Kenyan fuels, especially those ones going to Narok, going to Bomet, going to Kisii, they pay tax. But that road, Madam Speaker, has remained unrepaired for the last 2 years. And we go through that pain every weekend. Anytime you leave Nyamira, some of us who are not well endowed to be Sky Team, you always wonder, will I make it to Nairobi? Senator Kalwale, we always wonder, will I make it to Nairobi? Surely, can't this money also be used to do some of these simple things, Madam Speaker? Even for our tourists going to Narok, what image do they form of our country when they pass through a road, a national road, that has those kind of potholes? It's a shame, really. A collective shame to all of us as leaders in this country. Really, something needs to be done. I'd hoped to put a question today, but I got late on hearings that were affecting my governor in the Education Committee. So I hope I'll get time to raise that question. But let the government make life easier for us. We may not be using the road, the dual carriageway to Nakuru, to Mau Summit. Also take care of some of us who go through Maimayu, Narok, then to Bomet, including our tourists. As I conclude, Madam Speaker, I also hope our governors will make use of these funds to improve our ECD facilities. You saw a picture that I presented before the Education Committee, the kind of desks at Inyameko ECD school in North Mogrango in Nyamira. How will those kids grow to love school and education if we put them through such kind of an environment, Madam Speaker? You look how dilapidated the desks are. Why can't governors have their priorities right, Madam Speaker? You saw another one I shared on Ekiribogietai, ECD Center. I am pleading with my governor, my friend Governor Nyaribo, to also use the resources that we send to our counties to make ECD classes attractive to our children, so that they grow up loving and enjoying school from their very early stage, Madam Speaker. But if you send them to a school where they fall down, their knees are hurt, they will not love school, Madam Speaker. Even this idea of, Madam Speaker, leaving those young kids to share toilets with their seniors in junior secondary is not right. So I am pleading to our governors to also make life bearable for the people in our counties, our children going to school, the school feeding program, Madam Speaker. Let them get nutritious food so that we raise a health generation. I support this bill reluctantly. My wish could have been that counties get something more than 405 billion, but for now, reluctantly, we can do with 405 billion. So I support Madam Speaker and hope that our brothers in National Assembly who have their aunties, their uncles, their cousins back at their counties and will be served when we improve services at counties, will support this bill in the interest of seeing that devolution succeeds and works. I support, Madam Speaker.
Senator Osotsi.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for the opportunity to also make my comments on the Division of Revenue Bill 2025. This bill basically implements Article 218(2)(b) of the Constitution on sharing, dividing the revenues between the national and the county government, based on the criteria that is outlined in Article 203(1) of the same Constitution. Mr. Speaker, I have keenly read through the report by the Finance and Budget Committee, and one thing that is coming out very clearly, Madam Speaker, is that this bill is unconstitutional. I say that because, Madam Speaker, this Senate sat and passed a budget policy statement, and we said that we would like the county share of revenue to be 465 billion. That seems not to be reflected in this bill, Madam Speaker. So it leaves us wondering, why do we have to spend our time discussing the BPS when whatever recommendations that we are going to make, the national government is going to ignore those recommendations when they are proposing a division of revenue between the national government and the county government. We were very clear on 465 billion, Madam Speaker, because of increase in non-discretionary expenditure to the counties. The issue of housing levy, which counties have to bear a burden. The issue of enhanced NSSF contribution. The issue of CHP, community health professionals, promoters, where counties have to bear their counterpart funding, 50%. The issue of doctor CBA. The issue of procurement of medical equipment. And of course, the annual wage drift. All these issues informed the decision by the Senate to recommend that the BPS, in the BPS, that we should have an allocation to counties of 465 billion. But this recommendation in this bill is talking of a mere 405.1 billion shillings. That is short of a whopping 60 billion shillings that is supposed to go to the counties based on the BPS. So, Madam Speaker, on that basis alone, this bill is unconstitutional. The second aspect where, Madam Speaker, I think this bill is unconstitutional is that if you look at the projected revenues for 2025-2026, we are talking of 2.84 trillion shillings. And out of this, national government is going to take 2.42 trillion, which is about 85.53%. And the counties will get 405.1 billion, which translates to 14.2 2.28%, which is below 15% that is provided for in the Constitution, Madam Speaker. So on that basis alone, Madam Speaker, this bill is unconstitutional. And I would wish that we look at all aspects that are making this bill unconstitutional and rectify that, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, having said that, I also want to agree with the Council of Governors that if you look at, we agree that there has been a marginal increase in shareable revenue to counties for the last 5 years. But if you look at it keenly, Madam Speaker, you realize that the aggregated increase in the last 5 years is for counties is 70.9 billion shillings. But for national government is 702.6 billion, which is again below the 15% constitutional mark, Madam Speaker. So there is a lot of disparities in this bill, and therefore I would recommend that as we proceed with this bill, we will be proposing that this figure be increased to either the figure that we had proposed in the BPS of 465 billion or a higher figure to match the fact that there has been an increase in non-discretionary expenditures like the levies, the enhanced NSSF, the county aggregation and industrial park investment of 250 million per county, the money to CHPs, the doctor, CBA, and medical equipment, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, if you also look at the same constitution, Article 229, which provides the issue of audited reports, the court made a ruling that the houses of parliament, that is the National Assembly and the Senate and county assemblies, must process the audited reports within 3 months after they have been submitted by the Auditor General. So that means, Madam Speaker, that the most current audited reports to be applied in this case should be for the financial years 2024-2025. But in this case, Madam Speaker, the financial year being applied here is 2020-2021. That again is unconstitutional based on that ruling of the court. And if that is done, I think, Madam Speaker, we would get a higher share of allocation to the counties, because that is denying counties a lot of money, because we are looking at reports which are actually there are 4 years behind schedule, because we should be talking about 2020, actually 3 years, 2023-2024 financial year, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, even the proposal in this bill on how they are going to share equalization fund falls short of the provisions of the Constitution. The equalization fund that is figure that is proposed here is below the constitutional recommendation on that. But while speaking about equalization fund, Madam Speaker, we are concerned about the delays in transferring money for equalization fund. As we speak now, we have a whopping 2.7 billion shillings that remains in arrears in equalization fund. What is happening, Madam Speaker? We cannot have that huge amount of money in arrears, even as we are talking about allocating more money on equalization fund. So, Madam Speaker, this bill, we must look at it very critically, and if we want to protect the nation in this country.
Honorable Senators, it is now 6:30 p.m., time to adjourn the Senate. Senator Osotsi will have a balance of 10 minutes when we resume. The Senate therefore stands adjourned until tomorrow, Wednesday, 21st May 2025 at 9:30 a.m.